Hello, this is Olga Jevtich. I'm Miss Virginia Senior America 2003, and this is Fashion Notes. Well, today we have very fascinated guests, but I have to tell you why I'm wearing green. Not because, I'm green on envy, but the green is the color for 2013. There is a company, but it's the name of Pantene. Every year they come up with a new color that does not it's not only for the garment industry, but it's also for the other industry also. There is different shades, of course, of green. This what I'm wearing is kind of, forest green, what they call it. But this is, the green represents rejuvenation, new start, like everything is green in spring. And it's a good color. Also, it can go with other colors very well. For example, you can do it with the beige, you can do it with the navy blue, also even in yellow, which is a very interesting combination, I think. But also, not just for the garment industry, it's very important. Also for the industry that makes our mixers and blenders and refrigerators. Remember when we had the mixers and toasters only in stainless steel? Now you can find them in any colors you ever think of. Last year, 2012, was a color which is called honeysuckle pink and orange. That was the color. Now that this is a green. So that's just a little to explain why I'm wearing green, just to tell you the green is like a color for 2013. So I have to go through my closet and look for green things, which I don't have very many things of green, but I found it, and that's why I'm wearing. But anyway, this is a little thing about the new color. But we have in the house, our guest is very lovely lady that I met on the art walk that was in Great Falls last fall. Her name is Vad Moskowitz. She's an artist, and also I saw her work at the torpedo factory. I met very many people in torpedo factories before, and I'm stressing you should go to torpedo factory. It's very interesting because you find artists at work there, and also they have some artist walk. You have to see the schedule that you can meet actually artists and see how they are working on different things, different media. And this is how I discovered Vad. And Vad, welcome. This is Vad Moskowitz.
Good to be here.
Welcome to the show, and glad that you could come. I was very impressed with her work that I saw, as I said, through Art Walk in Great Falls and also in Torpedo Factory, where we had also many other artists from the Torpedo Factory. She's a weaver. She brought her samples of her weaving. Those are her samples. And how did you start? Did you start first as a weaver, and then you didn't know what to do with the fabric, and then you started making something with it?
I've been a weaver for many years, and I've woven everything. I wove wall pieces back in the 70s, and for 13 years I did the craft circuit, selling hand-woven rugs.
Rugs.
And I just decided that it would be fun to do something a little flashy and a little different.
But you did the rugs perhaps with a different yarn?
Oh, yes,
then,
yes.
It's a different, much thicker yarn.
For these, I use a lot of metallics and what we call novelty yarns. That have a little bit of glitter.
Yeah.
Because these are meant to be not necessarily evening bags, but for special occasions. I call them special occasion bags. They're not, they're not everyday bags.
Did you have to design rugs when you start first working in the rugs, to use it on the floor? And then, do you make design first and then you go on your, how do you call it?
Weaving is something that you really calls for a lot of planning. First you have to decide how you're going to thread the loom to get a particular design.
Loom, yes.
And then you make change, and then of course the yarn that you use affects the way it's going to look. And then you can actually manipulate the patterns in different ways. So a lot of these were...
Did you go to some courses to learn how to use the loom?
Well, I have a degree in fine arts, and I started weaving a number of years ago. I studied, there used to be a place in Georgetown that taught weaving. It was called the Silver Shuttle. And then I took a lot of...
Where was that? On what street?
It was on, I think, about 32nd Street, right when you first come across the bridge. And it was many years ago.
I see.
And anyway, then since then I've taken a lot of workshops and classes. And
so did you make it first for yourself and put somewhere in the room so you know everybody can look and enjoy it, or you put it on the wall like a tapestry?
Some of them go on the wall. I made them to go on the floor, and I sold them. I really don't have a lot of my own because I tended to sell all the ones I made.
Oh wow!
And then I decided I wanted.
Do you put some backing on the rugs, or what did you do?
No, they're actually reversible. You see, if you can feel these, just imagine something about 3 times that heavy.
So did you use wool or very cotton?
It was wool. It was all dyed with natural dyes. So it was like indigo and.
Did you dye it yourself?
I did all the dyeing
You did.
Yes.
Oh, did you use like commercial dyes or vegetable?
I used vegetable dyes, all natural dyes.
You can still buy vegetable dye. I didn't know that.
Well, I didn't buy them. I made them.
You made it?
Yes,
wow.
I lived in Great Falls, and I could go out and gather things in the fields.
From flowers?
From flowers and trees and stuff. And also, there are some that you have to buy. Indigo you can buy, and some of the.
But those are mostly what you buy from the nature. They are mostly like a fall colors, I think. You know, brown.
No, I had a lot of reds. Cochineal is red, and madder is red. Those are traditional natural dyes.
And those colors, you know, natural. They are, you know, they are forever. You cannot, you know, they are not going to fade in the sun.
The ones that I used did not fade. There are some that are more nascent, but I tested them, and I would hang them in the window for several months to be sure that they weren't going to fade.
But this is how it was, you know, with Oriental rugs. They used, you know, to be natural
dyes. These are the same dyes that are used.
And then, you know, they start doing it with, you know, just one commercial dyes, which is not the same.
Right.
And they fade. I know that because I have one that faded.
A lot of them are in the Middle East. They're now going back to using natural dyes more.
Oh, which is much more expensive, of course, you know, to have. But you know, of course, it's much better. And then when you did the rugs, you decide to do something with the lighter color, lighter, you know, thread and wool, or I don't know what did you.
They're all different. Some of them are metallics.
Metallics.
A lot of them some of them are rayon. Some of them a little bit. Those are wool. Those are wool and silk. It's a mixture.
Wool and silk. Yeah, it's really pretty. So what did you make a purses with that? You know, first or after you start working with the rugs? Well, first, what did you make after rugs?
Well, then we went overseas for a while, and when we came back and I was sort of starting over, I decided that I would just make.
Did you make it first for yourself? You know,
no,
maybe?
I was making them to take to shows.
Do you usually help people make, you know, something for themselves, and other people say, "Oh, where did you buy it?"
No, I just decided that. I mean, since I was doing it commercially all along, I decided to just switch to something else.
So then you went to Torpedo Factory. You showed them your work. I'm sure they were impressed there, and they, you know, because they're very selective. They don't just bring anybody who walks at the door. And you know they wanted to have an absolutely fantastic, you know, everything finished beautifully and done. I know that. So which is such an honor to be in that gallery there, and
it's a very nice gallery.
People go there and appreciate, you know, hand-done things. And which was your first purse? You know, was it made, you know, from wool or cotton, or what? I'm
trying to remember. I think the first ones I made were metallic. I was really taken. I wanted to make something very flashy, to be an evening thing, to be special, and so I started out, and it just, I would go out to look for yarns, and whenever I found something I thought was beautiful, I would try it.
How long does it take you, for example, to do it on the loom, like a couple inches? How long does it take?
Well, people are always asking me how long it takes. People were always asking me how long it takes to make the bags, and so I actually started logging my time. And I usually put on a warp. These all came off of the same warp, these 5 pieces. And it takes about, I would say about 6 hours to thread the loom and get it ready.
Just to thread?
Yes.
You know, nothing else.
And then I would say to weave a piece like this, it takes possibly 3 hours.
3 hours.
So I divide up and then of course to construct the bag.
And this
takes.
Do you think that's enough for one small purse
Yes,
or not?
that's enough for a good sized purse.
And then you have to have a think about the lining for the purse.
It has 2 linings. If you see, you can feel these are fairly hard. It has a heavy Pellon lining to hold its shape.
Do you use underlining or not?
Yes, I use a heavy lining underneath.
Underlining.
And then inside I use a satin or silk or something that feels nice.
Do you do it by machine?
The sewing is all done by machine. Well, some of it is done by machine. Constructing the inner lining is done by hand.
And you have even, a little pocket for
There's a little pocket.
Here you can put the cell phone or maybe some change.
Right.
And what kind of fabric is, what kind of thread actually?
This is a combination, this is a cotton and rayon and acrylic. And the handles are also hand woven, hand braided.
You made the handles.
I make the handles also. And people
would look so professionally.
People, it is professional.
I know, but it's I mean, like someday.
Well,
in
I
factory.
could never find in a fabric store a cord that would match.
Yes, to be
I
matched.
just ended up having to make my own. But I also make them because people would say, "Oh, I don't like long handles," or "Oh, I wish it had a long handle." So I made it so the handles can be both long and short.
I see. So you can wear it as a short and also as a long. That's just
so here's short.
This is clever.
And then you can take it and make it very long. So you have a choice. And the clutch bags all have handles that will come off, so you can use them as a clutch, or you
you don't have to have a. You
can decide.
Absolutely, you can just carry the way it is, But it's so handy to have when you go out, to have a free hand instead, to hold it.
Right.
But you have an option, of course, which is also very nice.
Clutches are very fashionable right now, so you need to be able to have it both ways.
They are. And also what she does, which is very interesting, she goes to flea markets and look for buttons. So all her buttons are a little different. They're all mostly antique buttons that she's using to put on her purses. And she has a collection here. I don't know if you can see it.
I don't know whether you can see
collection of the antique buttons that she's using on her purses. They are all unique, very unique and interesting. They don't make these buttons like that anymore.
Well, you look at the craftsmanship on them, and a lot of them are made in Austria and in
England,
Italy, and you look at the detail, and they're really, really incredible.
Yes, they are very beautiful. We have a model. She's going to show us some of her purses. This is one that we probably could, it shows better when you hand like that, because it's so many colors and also the fine details. You can see what she did. This is your do you have like a fall, this is kind of fall collection?
That one I made sort of thinking of fall
collection.
Yeah.
Do you do for the summer like a lighter colors?
Last summer I did a lot of linen and hemp.
Linen,
yeah.
So you do linen and cotton together, or just the linen? Is it linen good for weaving?
Linen is very nice to weave with, and it has a nice surface.
Thank you very much.
And
and then for the winter, of course, you have a very heavier fabric that you use. This is interesting, black and white that you have. What kind of fabric is that?
This is cotton.
This one, no, this one right here.
Oh, that one. That's chenille.
Oh, chenille.
Yes. Yeah. It's actually yarn that is woven. It's like velvet.
Yes, I know. This is a very, very fine and very soft fabric. I can see. And inside, do you have a different color linings, or you just mostly black?
Mostly they're black, so that they don't interfere with the outside.
In black. And she has another black and white there, which is a cotton right there.
This one's black and white.
This is cotton, isn't it?
This is cotton, yes. And
this is a cute little bag with a beautiful
an antique black glass button.
Yes, it's very, very nice.
And inside it's just got a little...
It's enough to put your cell phone and to put your money and credit card, and you're ready to go out.
Well, when I started making them, I realized that when I was in high school, we used to have these little teeny-weeny evening bags because all you put in them was your lipstick. But
Yeah.
women today carry their cell phones and their car phone and their car
Yes.
keys, and so they need to be at least big enough to accommodate
Yes,
those
it's
things.
just enough for this absolutely necessity credit card.
But a lot of people carry a lot more than that, especially if they're going out to lunch or something.
But they are good, you know, big enough, but is small enough not to, you know, be too much when you go, you know, in the evening. And I think most of them are made like to be worn in the evening because they're smaller.
Yes.
And usually, we put in our bags, you know, whole life, you know, now.
Right. Well, they're definitely not for your whole life.
Yeah, I know, but it is still unique, and you cannot find them in your next store.
Well, they are definitely one of a kind.
One of a kind, absolutely one. Who is your client? You know, are there younger people or any people, or people they like to go out to show off, to have something different? I'm sure.
I find I sell them to all kinds of people, but mostly people who do go to the theater or go out a lot.
Out to the restaurant?
Yes, restaurants.
I see. And what colors do you think, you know, people
Black
prefer?
and white.
Black and white.
That's really what sells the most.
Yeah, this is my colors too.
I love to do fancy colors and bright colors, but basically, when I make black and white, they're gone.
For example, this red one, I like it very much. It's beautiful. Yeah. This one, it's very shiny. Yeah. In front of you with one thick button.
And that's a steel button. It's cut with faceted button.
And how do you fasten it? You know, do you have to sew it?
Well, I anchor it to a very stiff piece of Pellon inside. And I sew it on, and then it's also glued. I don't want it
just for security.
Yeah, for security, so it won't get pulled off. But I think they act as a focal, and they also help you to fasten it. It gives you something to hold on to.
Is Melanie ready to show us something else? Let's see.
There she is.
What she's having now. Let's see what she's having. Oh, she's having a silver one. Oh, this is definitely beautiful
with a copper button
bag that she can offer all these evening soiree.
It has a copper button.
And copper button, yeah, absolutely. She brought here, many buttons here, just a sample that she's scouting around when she goes out and find them and put them in, So do you usually have a piece ready and then decide what to do, or you have in mind first what you're going to do and then you do the weaving?
Well, I decide how I'm going to set up the loom, and then I will get 5 pieces that are similar. For instance, these all come to a V.
How many threads do you use to put in the loom?
Well,
do you have a minimum, or you can have more than I don't know?
It depends on the yarn, but most of the work that I do is 12 threads to the inch. And that makes them nice and heavy because everything packs down. Because I want it to have a lot of body so that it'll keep its shape.
See. And is it easy to cut when you're not ready to sew? Do you make a first pattern?
I try to make them
not to make
with
mistakes.
With as little cutting as possible. And when I do have to cut them, I zigzag first so that they don't come undone.
Yes,
because it's different working with hand-woven fabric than commercial
regular fabric.
It tends to want to torque. It'll sort of goes the direction that you wove it. So if you want things to be centered and to stay stable, often I fasten a stabilizer onto the back and iron on light.
You can iron
interfacing. Yeah,
I see. Yeah. And you said you need about 3 hours when you have already fabric. But when you count, you weaving plus you making.
It takes about 12 hours for
12 hours per purse.
Right.
Wow.
That is assuming I don't have to take it apart and put it back together again.
Yeah, and I'm sure you are not sitting and finishing. You probably leave it.
What I do is I work on 5 of them at the same, or I work on the ones that came off the loom at the same time. That way, if I get stuck, I can put it aside and pick up something else, and I don't get bogged down.
Do you have like 2, 3 things that you started, and then you'll think about it, maybe something different?
Yes, exactly.
When you make this mistake, do you?
throw myself on the floor and scream is what I do.
Redo it, or just leave it there and think maybe later on you are going to figure out how you're going to finish.
Yes, well, I have a bin of things that I didn't like the way they were looking or something I put away, and sometimes I go back to them and I can rescue them.
And then something,
And sometimes I can't, so they're just there.
When do you like to work? In the morning or evening when it's quiet?
I like to weave in the morning because there's a lot of sun in my weaving room. And I do all
How large is your the loom?
I have two looms. I have one that's big that I use that I used to use for rugs. And it's 4 inches.
And do you still have to stitch them together pieces, even if it's a big loom? Like two long pieces, two
you mean
pieces
for these?
together? No, for that, when you used to
when
have
I made rugs?
With rugs.
I had a 5-foot loom when I made rugs. And if somebody wanted like a 9x5 rug, I would have to stitch them together. Usually people didn't want...
Like a poles.
Yeah, mostly people wanted an area rug, so 5 feet was plenty. I didn't do a lot of joining.
If somebody would like a design, or you give them sketches, what you're going to do?
Well, nobody has asked me to do a custom bag. I would if they asked, but nobody has ever asked me.
But you do it,
Rugs, yes. You made them the way people wanted them, but this I do them the way I want them.
I see.
Well, there was one woman who brought me her grandmother's button, and she wanted me to make a bag for it, and I did that. But
as you can see, what our artists are doing in our area. It's a fascinating work, and I'm really, really thankful for Vad to come today and to share with us all these, lovely things that she's doing that you cannot find in your neighborhood store. And also, I just want to tell you that our program now you can find on YouTube. If you type Olga Jevtich Fashion Notes, you can see our program at your leisure. And also, I would like to thank her for coming today. And I'm sure, I have to ask you also, what do you think, what are you going to do next when now you're doing bags? First you did rugs and bags. I'm sure you're thinking about something else.
I am. I'm always thinking about it. And I'm
else.
planning to do a series of small tapestries.
Tapestries
to put on the wall.
Put on the wall.
Yes.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Because I belong to a group that I can exhibit them with in Great Falls.
Oh, this is really interesting. Yeah. It does. I think Melanie has one more bag to show us. This is a hot pink, and this is a Chanel.
This one's cotton.
Oh, cotton. Cotton. And also it's a beautifully lined, and you can wear it as a clutch, or you can wear it on your shoulder. Right. And it complements any color you are wearing. Especially will be very nice with the dark color that you are wearing. It just show off beautifully in hot pink with a beautiful antique button that she is collecting and using in her beautiful, beautiful bags. Thank you, Melanie. This is really interesting. So the next time when I see you, when I go to the artwork, you're going to have all this tapestry on your wall.
If time permitting.
Oh, you will. You will.
I often wonder if I'm going to have enough time to do all the things, all the ideas I have.
But it's good to have idea and ambitions to do something that will keep you, on your toes and young.
Well, there's something really nice about making beautiful things that people will, that people can use. I like the fact that people touch them and use them.
Absolutely. When you see people wearing your things, it's just such a satisfaction to see. Nice. Because you put your heart and soul in each piece. As you said, how many hours you put in each bag. It's you put your soul in it, And people probably is wearing with it, to be proud to wear something very different, one of a kind. Well, this is, as you can see, that you can find anything in our area. Our artists are doing different things, and as I say, her work is at the Torpedo Factory in Alexandria. By now, I'm sure you know, because I always, said, go and take your children and, to see what, artists are doing. It can inspire you and also your children with the artwork that you can see there. And I'm sure you are there sometimes,
Yes,
to
I am.
work there and,
there this
talk to
weekend.
the people and, to show them, your work. And I know there are other artists there with different, things they are making there, and they have art walks also,
Right.
from time to time. But, check it out online or, go there and check and talk to the artists. They're willing, they are very proud to share their work with people. They come there and visit them. Oh, it was such a treat to have Bud here, and I wish her all the success in her design and her next project. And I would like to thank her very much and to thank you for tuning in today. And I hope you tune in again next time for another exciting artist from our area. This is Olga Jevtich reporting for Fashion Notes. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. It was nice.